Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tuesdays Eye for Technical Analysis. Our cool little backdrop to upgrade our show is still on the way. However, you still get Ty and I, so it's good for you. For everyone that's catching this live, thank you for catching it live. Feel free to drop questions in the comment section of YouTube or in Periscope. We can see them here in the chat and we will do our best to answer them. If you are not watching this live, you can click in the description of YouTube and it will take you to certain points where we're going to be talking about Bitcoin, Ethereum, charts, and then on the news. So while we are waiting for some people to join, Ty, how are you doing? Where are you coming from?
I'm back. I'm back where I normally am.
Okay.
Had a little stint in Baton Rouge, but back in Georgia now. So just chilling.
Operational security. Don't tell them exactly where you are.
No.
As I tout Miami all the time, and Miami's such a small city.
They wouldn't be able to figure it out anyways. I could say Georgia or even Northeast Georgia and even rural Georgia. They wouldn't be able to find me. Believe me.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, cool.
But yeah, so we're going to be talking about the U.S. Well, there's a ton of stories, but there's like the U.S. Mint is limiting gold and silver supply. Of course, there's new stimulus checks coming out soon. There's some gold investors or big gold hedge funds that are considering selling gold now. And I have some theories about where that profit might go. I'm sure you do too. And there's also Goldman Sachs is warning about the U.S. dollar losing world reserve status. I mean, there's a lot going on right now. And it's all bullish for Bitcoin. So, and we'll talk about why, obviously.
Definitely. Okay, I'm sorry, Ty, I'm tagging you in this tweet. And so we're going to cover Bitcoin, Ethereum, YFI, which is You're in Finance, new, probably DeFi, I'm going to assume, AMPL, AMPL, Ampleforth, TRB, and then covering in the news. So let me tag you in this and let's get started because I know everyone's excited because Bitcoin is $11,000. I think we hit an all-time high of, I mean, not all-time high, but this cycle high of 11,400. We definitely blew through 10K, blew through 10.5. I'm really, really hopeful that we're not going to go below 10 again. But let's listen to the professionals. Ty, show us the charts.
Professional. All right. Let me pull up the screen here. I mean, we have been pretty accurate.
Oh yeah.
So we'll see what the charts say, and see where we're at now. So you can see my screen. Okay, great. So for weeks now on this stream, we have been talking about a move up from the sideways action that Bitcoin was in from this range between like May, really April, the end of April till July 20th. And so from July 20th onward, we have seen some massive moves. And I theorized that we were in some kind of like pennant, in Bitcoin in this range, and that we would eventually break out to the upside. And you could have said, okay, well, Bitcoin could have gone to the downside, but the fundamentals don't back up a downside move. Obviously, it's Bitcoin. It seems pretty common sense, but if you're just using technical analysis with no fundamentals involved, then you might say, okay, we could go to the downside. Either way, we went up. We went up from that point. And now, if we take a bigger look outside, there's two different Fibonacci patterns that we could use here. We could do it from the 2019 pump, which was like June. It's pretty much the year before Bitcoin halving pump. It happens like every 4 years. And this pump went to almost 14K. And the low for that range as well was about 38.76. This is after Black Thursday, which was not fun. So this is our range for our Fibonacci numbers, a range. And so we can get an idea of what the next resistances are, or what like these next numbers or magnets are for these numbers that just work. Okay, we talked about the Fibonacci range and the Fibonacci ratios before and why they work. But today we're going to be using that Fibonacci ratio again and see where the next support needs to be or whether the next resistance is. So if we look at the daily, for example, the biggest resistance for us, at least on the Fibonacci retracement levels, was going to be 10,000. I mean, we knew that, right? I mean, you could see that all the way through here. You could see it May 20th, it hit 10,000, bounced off. You could see it June 20th, bounce off 10,000. So unless it could beat 10,000 and close above that, then it was going to be very difficult to actually make this bull run or make this attempt to move up. So we did end up closing above 10,000 with this giant candle here. And I have these little lines here. I'll show you in a second on a smaller time frame. But this giant candle was what was this? It was like a 10%, $1,000 candle. So we're probably going to start seeing like $1,500 to $2,000 candles pretty soon. That's just how it works with Bitcoin, especially because of some catalysts that we'll look into later. But now we're just kind of doing a small little retrace, and I'll show you that on a lower time frame. But basically, we just need to close for the week, in my opinion, above the $10,000 to $10,500 resistance, because now the 10,000 comes from the Fibonacci ratio, but the 10,500 comes from like a psychological level, which is pretty important. And you can see that. Let's see, 10,500, which is right where my mouse is, and it's just a very important level. It's been used as support for sometimes, resistance, all throughout Bitcoin's history, at least since 2017. So 10,000 and 10,500 are huge levels, and we want to make sure that we stay above those levels. Okay, so now going into a closer look at what's happening with Bitcoin, we are, some people are worried or concerned that Bitcoin might just crash all the way back down to 10,000 or 10,500. But what we can see here is that it's forming a type of pennant. And this is actually good because it gives our RSI a chance to cool down. So we can see on the hourly, this is a lower time frame, RSI is cooled down here. 4 hour was overbought, still is kind of overbought, and needs to return back down to this purple zone. And then you can even see the daily is pretty overbought as well. So basically, with this move, anytime you have stuff like this, you really do want a clean correction. That way, there's no,
no crazy crash.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely don't want, it to keep going up and be parabolic. Because, I mean, what you have in that scenario is what you have in 2017. This is not healthy. This is not even normal. And a lot of that is probably because of the tether pump, which is actually still happening.
Exactly.
So we want to try to avoid that if possible. The good news is we have a lot of, well, I say good news. We have institutional money coming in now. You have like Paul Tudor Jones, who earlier, I think, was it in May or June, said basically he's betting on Bitcoin, just like just like gold was being bet on in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, he said that he's looking at Bitcoin as an asset class because it has limited supply. And Paul Tudor Jones probably manages the most money in terms of anybody in the world right now. So he's saying that you better watch out. And I actually just thought of a funny joke. You're seeing a lot of institutional money come in because we have a backed door. They have a backed door. Get it? Backed?
Yeah. Speaking of backed, I guess they're doing pretty good, or they're doing decent. Isn't Kelly Loeffler the senator who was doing, who got caught for some kind of insider trading or something like that? Wasn't she the CEO of Bakkt?
I think she was the CEO. I don't know about the insider trading. If anybody is watching right now and you know about what's happening with Bakkt, comment in the chat room. Let us know so we can read it out to the people.
Yeah, I'm sure people know about the whole Kelly Loeffler thing. Actually, she's one of our one of Georgia's representatives. So
Oh, interesting. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so Bitcoin, if we end the week above 10,500, then the bull market continues. If we
Yes.
don't, we might have to watch out a little bit.
If we don't end the week with above 10,500, you're probably going to just lean on support above 10,000, which is still good because if you consider all this range that we were in above 88 to 9,000, 10,000, it's still good in my opinion. I mean that's still fine for me. Plus it gives me more time to accumulate,
Yeah, exactly.
which I would appreciate.
Yeah, and at the end of this, we're going to talk about, we could talk about it now too, but just like all the fundamentals that make it to where I don't see us retracing. Also, how can you, real quick, Ty, can you show how long it's been that we were in that range from like 9,000 to 9,500?
Yeah. So total days was 83 days.
Okay, so about 3 months.
Yeah.
We were in that nice little range. So that's a long little consolidation period there.
Yep. And then, I mean, we talked about this for weeks that Bitcoin was definitely going to break that range early. And I think I said September was a possible time to start the bull run. I mean, I guess it started early, so I'm not opposed to it. So that's kind of Bitcoin right now. So we want to hold above 10,500 on the weekly. If not, we'll probably retrace to 10,000, which is also fine because I don't see it going back below 10,000. And we'll talk about where those reasons why. But it is knocking on the door of 11,000. It's forming a pennant. I can pull up volume just to see what volume looks like. It's probably going to be dropping. Yeah, it is. So volume is dropping, which is fine because if it gets to around this point, which is where the pennant is forming, we'll probably see another move up. And I think it'll break 11.5, 11,000 after that move. And then after that, what do you have after that? Let's see. And we spent a lot of time on Bitcoin, obviously, because Bitcoin is, Bitcoin's elite.
King.
So
Yeah.
And we'll look at the other ones too. But the next one is, according to the Fibonacci ratio, is 11,500. This is big resistance, which we already knew that. And then the next one after that is 13,882, which again we knew that because this is the big thing that we couldn't cross in 2019. So you're looking at 11.5 and then basically 14,000. So your risk reward from where you're at now is like your risk is very high. Your reward is very high. Your risk is very low. So big opportunities for Bitcoin right now, and I think we're going back up. Just give it a second.
Just wait till the end, you guys, and we're going to talk about all the reasons why the fiat money system is making it super ideal for us to just for a Bitcoin economy, right? The best performing assets in 2020 are gold, silver, Bitcoin, and probably bullets, maybe even meat. So
probably.
All right, cool. So let's see. Next thing we are going to cover is Ethereum, of course. Ethereum has definitely done well this week also.
So let's take a look at Ethereum and see what's going on here. So there's two hard caps, and I call them hard caps. They're basically large caps. Stock market calls them, they'll call them large caps. Sometimes in crypto we call them hard caps. Why? I don't know. But the hard caps are Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. These are the cryptocurrencies that have basically solidified their positions in cryptocurrency as being either a cryptocurrency or just being a legitimate tool in the industry. Mm-hmm. So for Ethereum's case, there's a lot of DeFi being built on Ethereum, and it has not reached its proper value. It is honestly probably one of the most undervalued cryptocurrencies in cryptocurrency right now because there's so much being built on it. And you can obviously point to the fact that there's going to be some instances of high gas fees, and there's going to be some instances of clogging in the Ethereum network. There's going to be a lot of that, but it doesn't really matter because there's so much being built on Ethereum because of the ease of development using Solidity that it doesn't really matter. So right now, Ethereum is sitting in between the 100% and the 786 Fibonacci ratio retracement lines. And it has not even begun to make its way up from the 786, which tells you that the bull run for Ethereum has just begun. And it is a huge potential for people who are interested in getting into Ethereum. And just because the price is 319 US dollars right now, shouldn't mean anything to you. Because, a lot of people will say, oh, I want to get a lot of these cryptocurrencies, so I'm just going to buy XRP, or I'm just going to buy, something small because the price is low. It doesn't matter, because what you're after here is not dollar amount, you're after percentage gains. So if you could acquire a full Ethereum at 319 US dollars from where you're at right now, or from where it's at right now, if you were to go back up to, for instance, the top at like 15, 16,000, or 1,600, then you'd be looking at almost 400%. Now, if you're a bigger institution or a hedge fund or just somebody with a lot more money to spend and you want a smaller risk, you're going to be looking at Ethereum. And I would feel much more comfortable putting my money, or more of my money, into Ethereum than I would in some of these smaller altcoins. Because with the altcoins, they could just crash at any moment. Ethereum has actual fundamental value underneath it. So I feel much more comfortable with Ethereum than I do a lot of these altcoins. And for that reason, I have bought more Ethereum. And so what we'll be looking at here with the technical analysis is if we go to, let's look at the weekly. There's a small little trend here that's been created since this little range was started. So we can see that this little dotted line allows us to see this range that was, it's just hitting on the 100%, the $79 level at least twice. And then now what's happened is it's broken this downtrend. So it has a huge pump here. I mean, this Ethereum was actually leading the pump, or it's also been leading the entire DeFi market, because obviously every ERC20 token and all these DeFi tokens are built on Ethereum. So Ethereum's value is being pumped. The token itself has not caught up with the value yet. It will. And then on top of that, if they do actually release Ethereum 2.0, that's just like a bonus. Because if they do actually do this, and I'm sure they will at some point, then that is even more reason to throw your money at Ethereum, because then it might have better scaling. Then it might not get clogged up. I mean, you might not have the CryptoKitties thing from 2017. So there's a lot of different scenarios where Ethereum does win, and it just seems like a really good idea to at least consider it right now, because it's not even past the 786. And I usually say wait till it passes the 786 and invest somewhere in between the 786 and 618. But in this scenario, I don't think you need to. I think you have all the evidence you need from DeFi. You have all the evidence you need from the fundamentals that are underlying with it. There's a lot being built on it, and there's a lot of issued tokens on it. Bonds, for example, are being issued on it. So there's a lot going on with it. And RSI looks great. I mean, you can see like even the weekly RSI from this pump still looks great. Daily could come down, and it probably will. And if it does come down, we're probably looking at like 300, 305, maybe 289. I doubt it comes down that low though.
Okay, so we're seeing Ethereum, great long-term buy, just because the fundamentals are there. Ethereum is the second largest market cap. They have a lot of development that's happening on there. I see Crypto Alex. Hi, Alex. How are you? Talking about Ethereum 2.0, when that does get launched. A lot of people in the Ethereum community and in general are like, when is this going to get launched? Sometimes good things take time, you guys. So when that does happen, we see all of these billions of dollars in DeFi that are locked up. You do want to tokens. These tokens have their own stock ticker, but they use the Ethereum blockchain. So
Yeah, I guess we need to
definitely
clarify that. So, and we did this like last week or the week before, where the Ethereum blockchain is,
its
you
own
know,
blockchain.
yes, it's its own blockchain, but these ERC20 or ERC 721 tokens are being built on the Ethereum blockchain. It's basically just where these companies can raise money on these with their own token distribution, but they're using the Ethereum blockchain. So they're not using their own mainnet. If they were, then they would have their own mainnet, like VeChain mainnet, for example, or I think Link has their own mainnet. Another example. So most of these DeFi tokens are basically they're using simple finance principles or decentralized finance principles, but they're doing it on the Ethereum blockchain. So that raises the value of Ethereum because they're. And here's the other thing: a lot of people don't know this. There's a lot of Bitcoin that is wrapped and in collateral on wrapped BTC on Ethereum, for example, which is just an ERC either ERC token 21 or ERC 20 token that accounts for Bitcoin. It's basically like Bitcoin locked up in this protocol. So that's more than the Liquid network and the Lightning network, which a lot of people don't know. So there's more Bitcoin on Ethereum than there are on side chains or off-chain solutions like Liquid and Lightning network, which is crazy. So Ethereum for the win.
Ethereum for the win. Ethereum is a good buy. And you're saying that the bottom that we might see would be about 305, maybe 290. But we know those psychological barriers of the hundreds definitely mean a lot. So
yes, yep, exactly. And then the next resistance to be looking at is like 400, which I think that it could easily pass through like butter if Bitcoin continues to move up. And Ethereum might do it on its own too, because Ethereum was moving before Bitcoin was. So
very true. Ethereum was up like 10% when Bitcoin was up 5%.
Right.
So cool. All right. Next coin to cover so we can keep pushing. YFI, you're in finance. This is, I'm going to assume, a DeFi token. Never seen this before, Ty, so let us know. What is this about?
Okay. So from my understanding of Yearn Finance, I think it's Yearn Finance, something like that. Yeah, Yearn.finance is what it's called. And it recently got listed on FTX. So FTX is a derivatives exchange, which turns out it's a pretty good derivatives exchange if you want to use it. But what they do is find the best yield opportunities in DeFi, and then somehow, I guess, exchange the token itself for these opportunities, or I don't know the specifics of it, but basically it's a big thing. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but it's worth $3,445 right now.
What the hell?
Yeah.
All right, so show us the charts.
Yeah, so it's pretty crazy because it's not like just this little small little coin. I think the other thing that adds to this is the supply is very low, and I'll have to double check that, but I'm pretty sure that's the reason why the price is so high.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's what I would have guessed too.
Right. Yeah, and the other thing that that Yearn Finance also has is because it's listed on the FTX, the derivatives exchange. It has leverage now, and because it has leverage, what that means is that you can essentially say, okay, well, I want to long this with maybe margin, or you want to long it with contracts that may push it past a normal price. This means two things. One, it means that it could probably go up faster or just go to levels unseen before. But two, it could also mean that it could crash harder. So it goes both ways. This happened with Bitcoin as well, with a bunch of leveraged exchanges like BitMEX, for example, in 2017, allowing for leverage, but also allowing the same thing on a short. So you can long, which just means you're betting on it to go up, but you could also leverage short. So it's I don't know a whole lot about the details of the coin itself, but I do know that it is it's definitely dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. So don't try to long or short or anything like that if you don't know anything about derivatives exchanges. But as far as TA, what we get from TA is And this is a limited price, price history from FTX because it just got listed like July 20th. So very limited. And the top here was like 4,975, which is kind of stupid. But since then, the bottom is 1,910. So our Fibonacci retracement levels tell us that right now it's sitting at the 50% retracement level, which is 3,440. Now, the RSI for the 4-hour looks fine. There's not a whole lot of price history to give us a lot of history on that. I don't have anything for the daily because there's not enough price history. But if we look at the hourly looks fine. Looks like it's pretty calm, pretty decent in terms of steady growth for the RSI. And it looks like it is actually, at least on the hourly, it looks like it's holding above the 50% fib retracement line. So if it holds above this on the hourly, I would look next on the 4-hourly because, again, you don't have a whole lot of price history here. But I did want to review this or at least look at it because a lot of people are talking about it and they might want to know what's the next thing to expect. So if we do close on the hourly and then the 4-hourly above the 3,440 line here, then I would say the next leg up is going to be about 3,800, which again coincides with our resistance here. So next up is 3,800 if we can close above 3,440.
Very cool.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say about it other than that.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the thing too, is that when it's such a short history, it's such a short history, and we don't have fundamentals in place. We don't have things like hash power that we can look to measure. We got to look at the charts. That's why you're here.
Yeah.
Because you look at the charts. All right. And Fibonacci, I mean, we talk about Fibonacci here, but these numbers of the universe are very indicative of things more than just crypto prices. All right. So next is AMPL Ampleforth. Shout out to Adam Manka and his family members. Go ahead.
We'll try to be nice.
We'll try to be nice. So yeah, I don't know anything personal about Ample other than they're family friends of the Blockchain Center. So
okay, well, so Ampleforth, if you've heard of it, I'm sure most people have by now. I don't have a conclusive opinion about Ampleforth, so I can't say that I'm super positive about what it is and what it's not. What I do know is that there's a lot of people that are talking about it and considering it a Ponzi scheme. Now, have I looked into this and actually looked at the details to see why they believe that? Not necessarily. There's something to do with maybe a thing called a rebase, an Ampleforth rebase, where supposedly it's something to do with like, I guess it sounds Ponzi-ish. I'll have to look into it. Like I said, I haven't done a whole lot of research to determine if it is or not. So we'll just stay away from that for the most part and look at the TA. And what the TA tells us is
wow, look at that.
Yeah.
Volume all of a sudden crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what happened here. And this is not like a known pattern that I can think of. I mean, this is kind of weird. I guess we could actually point to some resistance. And this right here, this is what happens when, I don't know, I guess maybe a market maker pushed the price up to this point and some poor sap bought at 99.82. And then, of course, it went all the way down. This is a long wick, but it always messes up the price data from here, but, we'll just skip that. So we did have a downtrend for a while until finally it broke in, looks like June 28th, June 29th. And then since then, we've been actually using this downtrend or this trend line as support for the most part. And if we can draw some more trend lines here, we can actually see there's more support here at 163. This is USD, by the way. And there's also resistance here at what it looks to be $2.95, almost $3. You have a big pump here in the middle, but you also have this giant, bearish candle, these giant bearish candles. And this is on the daily, by the way. So I personally would not invest from just seeing this. I think this is way too weird for me. And then there's also the unknowns. And maybe if I learn more about it, I'll reconsider. But at least for this chop right here, I'm not going to day trade it. I'm not going to swing trade it because this seems a little ridiculous. It's I don't know. It's not a weird. It's a weird pattern that I haven't seen before, and it doesn't look right. But yeah, I mean, if you wanted to, and you are confident enough to invest in this or just spot trade it, then you could say, okay, well, it's sitting at support now at 162. Let me go ahead and gobble some up here and trade it back up to 294, right? You could probably do that and see if that works for you. And maybe, if you do, then you could make a solid 81%, right? If you trust that enough, maybe set a stop like just below. I mean, to be safe, I would set it just below like 140, which from here to 140 is like a 13% loss. So your risk is like 13, 14%. Your reward could be like 80 to 90. So that's what I would say about Ampleforth. Again, do your own research. Don't rely on my words for it. That's it. And I think next we have... We're going to look at SXP, I think. Skirt. Am I gone? Oh, am I muted? Hold on. Skirt. I can't hear you. Hold on.
You can't hear me. There you go.
Oh, there we go. All right, cool. Are we back?
Yeah, we're back. I was gonna say if we could cover Link too, but let's do SXP.
Okay, cool.
We talked about SXP last week. Mark Smith said it looks like a Head and Shoulders. Oh no.
It looks.
Oh, I think your screen is gone though.
Yeah,
you gotta reshare your screen. Yeah.
I don't think it's a Head and Shoulders. It doesn't have the formation that it should. It just looks more like chop to me. Mm-hmm. So Head and Shoulders might have like a head here and then two shoulders, one here. But you have some kind of weird formation after this, which kind of invalidates it.
Okay. And so, Tyler Goodman says the token price is pegged at 1.009 USD, and that's why it looks weird. Maybe that's a feature? I don't know.
Interesting. That could be something to do with the rebase that everybody's talking about.
Interesting. Okay.
Cool. Okay, so we'll look at SXP, which my homie's been trading this, and unfortunately, this right here from July 20th down to July 27th. Is this when it started? Oh, sorry, 25th of July to 27th. This is from 222 down to 121. No bueno. This was a lot of people probably got hurt on this move. It's like a 50% move. And I think so we were talking about SXP, I think the week before last, and how Binance is kind of pushing it. And I think a lot of people got in from here to here. Obviously, it got parabolic at one point, got parabolic here. And I knew that at some point we were going to see some big dump, and it was going to hurt a lot of people, and it turns out that it did. A lot of people weren't expecting it to really do a huge retrace yet, but that's the thing about trading a lot of these cryptocurrencies that get really parabolic. You really have to be very careful about these moves because they can really hurt you. So with SXP now, we're seeing on the fib retracement levels, there's a lot of resistance here at the 618, at the 165 level. It is, however, wicking down from, and it's actually forming higher lows, which is good. But again, it's still touching these this resistance here at 165. Now, what it'll probably do, and just because of what my friend will call the pumpamentals, is just move up from this wedge here because of being confined in this space, in this range, and then just explode from 165. So, or what could happen is you could have a similar situation to what we saw here, and you could see another downward move, which would probably put you somewhere maybe at the 786 at 143, or even lower to the 121 price level. So would I trade this? Probably not. I think it's too overbought for me right now. I don't trust it. I want to wait till something gets more clear in terms of price action. On the daily, for example, it has finally cooled off, which it needed to do for a while now. Weekly is fine. 4 hours fine. Hourly is fine. So the RSI is cool now. It's good. But the big question is, are whales going to keep dumping? And according to what we're seeing here with these fractals, these pennants, or these wedges, I would say it's probably not a good idea to risk it right now. There's better options, especially while Bitcoin and Ethereum are moving. You don't want to be doing any trades like this because it's just uncertain. You don't know what's going to happen. And I think because of Bitcoin moving, it actually partially caused these liquidations. And you can actually margin trade with XXP as well. So with that being said, I mean, there's a lot on the line. For a lot of traders, there's a lot of leverage behind it, either long or short. So yeah, SXP could be a dangerous trade.
Okay. Good to know, you guys. Very good to know. We do have some requests. Link, first of all. I think as we advertised that we were going to do Link.
Yeah. All right, so let's do Link.
Everybody loves Link. And then we have XRP and XTZ, but we might have to get to those next week, you guys. So
keep watching the show.
Yeah, keep watching the show.
Let's see. Did we look on Link USD last time?
I think so, maybe. Yeah. Or maybe it was BTC. Let's see.
What did I look at? Maybe it was Kraken. I already had something set up. That's why I'm trying to look for it. Okay, maybe not. All right, well, let's just do this for now and see what Link is doing. What's the biggest price history Link has? See if anybody in the comment section will give us a hint.
Any idea, guys? Kate, our request for Link. What is the longest price history of Link? Where has it been traded first? I wonder. Chainlink. Oh, let's see. Let me see.
We might just do. Yeah, we gotta do US dollars. Let's try Binance. Yeah, here we go. Binance. Perfect. Okay. So, funny enough, remember when we drew this Fibonacci retracement level like last week? Or maybe it was a week before that. Well, you can see here, this is on daily, so this would have been July 27th, so literally yesterday. It almost touches the 786 line, which we drew this retracement level, last week or the week before that. So I couldn't have just set it up like this. And I think I did say it was going to retrace the 786 level. So you could have, if you set your bids somewhere down here, all the way down to the 786 level, you could have bought some really cheap Link, or at least cheaper than what it's at now. But let's see what's going to happen with it moving forward. What's the RSI like? RSI has cooled down. You can see it here. Weekly still needs to come down more, so we might see more consolidation in 786 or above the 786. I mean, if it moves above this wedge, I don't even know what to say about Link anymore. If it moves above this giant wedge that's building up here, this red wedge here, then I don't know what, it's new price discovery as far as I'm concerned for Link. So at that point, it's just I don't know what Link could go to. I think there's a huge community behind it. There's a lot of people pumping it. The whole like Zeus Capital FUD is making people want to buy more. And it's funny, I think the Zeus Capital promoted tweets about Link started around the top here, and they've been shorting, I bet, all the way down here. So they would have shorted probably with like maybe 5-10 times leverage, maybe more. And they have people jumping on their short with them. They would have shorted down to at least like, maybe if they sold down here 31, 32%, here about 19%. So, and then you add on like leverage with that, and they probably would have made decent money, and they would definitely would have paid back their promoted tweets.
Yeah.
So yeah. Sense. So I think we're going to consolidate above the 786 level, so above 594. So I would set bids somewhere in between like 650, 614. If it does kind of come back down here, it might even do like a little pennant here. Seems there's support there. Yeah, I mean it might just consolidate in this little pennant, so somewhere between like 655 and 735. It's probably a decent area to set bids if you're a long-term Link holder, and there's a good possibility that it breaks out of this wedge. It doesn't have terrible RSI on the daily or the weekly or anything like that. Weekly can recover, but that'll come with consolidation anyways. And after that, I mean, there's no reason that it should keep coming down. People aren't going to believe the FUD anyways with Zeus Capital, so that shouldn't affect it. And it's just still growing. So I think it could keep going, and if it goes above, the level here, like 888, it's kind of $9. It's kind of game over. And yeah, I don't know what can happen after that.
Yeah, and definitely Link is very similar to Zap, where this is, in order for your DeFi to work, in order for your smart contracts to work, you need some type of plug-in to the real world, or someone in the real world to say, okay, the temperature in Miami did hit 90 degrees, and now we can execute whatever it is that we can execute if we bet on it, or however it works. But you definitely do need oracles that plug into the real world. So that's why you're seeing things like Chainlink and Zap pump, and because they're necessary. They're necessary for the DeFi world to exist.
Agreed.
So very cool. You can request a Chainlink. I just looked at their website. Interesting. Okay, cool. All right, what are we up to next, Ty?
So we're on to TRB. I said I would do this TRB. Just because it's like so some of these cryptocurrencies, obviously you cannot trade on, or you can't see on TradingView. So you have to go to the fringe world of cryptocurrency exchanges. And this one happens to be Beaky. There are some exchanges that are like smaller that can support, some of these smaller altcoins with low market caps. And TRB, supposedly there's rumors that Coinbase and Binance Labs are backing it. I don't know about those rumors. I was trying to look into it to see if they were true. Couldn't find anything like conclusive. But if it is true that Coinbase and Binance Labs are backing this for whatever reason, I don't even know anything about the coin, to be honest. But I think it's supposed to be like a decentralized oracle, just like Link, verifying information. So we'll see what happens with that. But if you were to purchase TRB, I mean, like for example, if you purchase it down here, you would be up right now. You'd be up 45%. At the top, you'd be up about 112. And even before that, I mean, you'd be up 127% if you bought down here. So it does seem like there's a lot of pumpamentals, as we'll call it, and it has actually been doing a really good job, just gradually inclining. Again, I couldn't tell you why. Mm-hmm. But if we look at the daily, for example, the daily looks solid as far as RSI goes. Volume really lacking now. It's kind of picking up somewhat. But yeah, RSI has been pretty consistent. RSI in the daily is fine. If you look at the weekly, not a whole lot of price history here. In fact, this was actually recently listed in March, the end of March. So fairly new in that regard, which is good. We like new. New means money, usually. You don't want like some, yeah, you don't want some like, janky old altcoin that had its Ponzi scheme run at the beginning of 2018, 2019 and fizzled out. So, but it does seem to be doing pretty well. I mean, it's forming a pennant here. If it breaks out to the upside of this pennant, that could be a good opportunity. You'd be up 42% from here if you take that opportunity, and it does break out. So check out TRB, do some more research on it. I probably will as well, just to check it out and see if there's any, positive connections to Coinbase and Binance Labs. If there is, you can pretty much bet on it to just keep going.
Yeah. So I'm looking at it right now because I've never.
I think you're muted.
Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I've never heard of it before, but it's Teller, TELLOR.io.
Yes.
Yeah, and their website is not loading. It's either that or my internet's not working. But if you can see me, my internet must be working. So
yeah, maybe they already exit scammed.
Yeah, maybe they already exit scammed. Exactly. Terrible, guys. It's the crazy world of crypto. All right. So, do we have any more things we said we promised to cover? I think we're the news portion, and we got 15 minutes left. But I do have, by the way, I do have some requests for next week. I don't know. You guys are going to have to start sending us some Bitcoin in order to cover these for you. We have some like Algoland, XTZ, of course, XRP. I actually do want to see some XRP charts next week. But next week, guys, join us next week. We have Udo. Working by TRB, Elian.
Beaky.
Yeah, exactly. They have. I'm looking at them on CoinMarketCap and on CoinGecko, and it looks like definitely not exchanges in the United States.
No. Even IDEX, so they have to verify that you're either from the U.S. or, and they're supposed to be like a decentralized exchange. It's a joke though because they actually have to KYC now.
Yeah.
Which is stupid. But even IDEX, like you can get on the European market, I think, but not the American market.
Interesting. Yeah. So BuyBox, BuyDesk. I think the highest volume is on Hotbit. All exchanges I've never heard of before.
And okay, well, here's another thing I want to point out. Volume on these exchanges a lot of times is just fake. Mm-hmm. It's manipulated volume to make the exchange look better, but it's not legit. So you're better off looking not at volume, but looking at like the exchange itself to see if it's legit and if it has any like previous instances of like exploits or hacks or anything. That way you can see if their security is legit. Yeah. So your money doesn't get lost.
Oh, you mean how I lost a lot of money on Cryptopia?
Oh, no, I lost money too. Yeah, so that was pretty bad.
Smash the like button if you lost money on Cryptopia. Make sure you subscribe.
That's pretty much like an initiation like into crypto. If you didn't lose money on Cryptopia, are you even a crypto trader?
Do you even have Bitcoin? Do you know what your private keys are?
Yeah.
Cool, very cool. So yeah, next week, you guys, we will cover some of those coins. Some of those we might not cover, but next week, join us every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Now, we've got 12 more minutes to cover why the fundamentals of what's happening in the traditional markets, what the governments are doing in response to coronavirus. I know everybody's probably pretty excited because they know that your traditional banks can now custody your crypto for you. Does that mean that we get this imaginary FDIC $250K insurance? Who knows? They really haven't put a lot out yet. But in terms of what makes Bitcoin bullish, let's take it away with some gold in the U.S. Mint.
Gold in the U.S. Mint. Okay, so U.S. Mint has reduced silver and gold coin supply to purchasers. So what this means is that, exactly what it sounds like. They reduce the volume of gold and silver coins that it's distributing to authorized purchasers for what they say is, because the pandemic is slowing down production. So you can believe that or not. I mean, there's a coin shortage supply. Mm-hmm. A lot of this stuff is like manufactured, so keep that in mind. It's just more reason to invest in Bitcoin because nobody's going to stop you from buying Bitcoin. Even if all the exchanges shut down, I mean, you can still ask your friend, hey, I'll give you, this stupid fiat for some Bitcoin at a premium.
Or earn it. I'll clean your room. I'll wash your car for some Bitcoin.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. Bitcoin is one of the One of those
So
sound money things.
this is definitely going to push the prices up of silver and gold, but it's also going to limit the supply of physical gold and silver to purchasers, which is in my opinion is pointless, because that's the whole, like, the tangibles of gold and silver is that you can get it physically and that you can hold it, right? Paper gold and silver is stupid. It's not worth it. I mean, you could hold it like on an exchange and stuff like that. That's cool, but like the intangibles, the biggest reason why gold and silver has survived and has been successful for so long is because that you can actually physically hold it. Now, technically, you can physically hold Bitcoin, just not in the normal sense. You can still do that with your wallet, right? You can actually own your Bitcoin through your wallet, and it's actually, it's more legitimate than paper owning gold and silver. So I think Bitcoin's a better option. I think a lot of people will come to that conclusion as well, and they'll have to, because the U.S. Mint is reducing the silver and gold supply.
Yeah, and Bitcoin was modeled after gold, but what it does is it takes every single one of gold's, shortcomings, and it innovates on it with technology. So you can't take physical delivery of your gold because you don't have a enough safe in your house. Your brain wallet, remembering those seed phrases, is really where you can store your wealth. Also, too, thinking about the coin shortage that's happening. Any country, the first sign of a currency crisis is smaller denominations of coins come out of circulation. I mean, a couple of years ago when I saw them making the dollar into a coin, I was like, oh, like inflation, like my little buzzer was going off. So, I mean, these are not just effects, these are signs of the times. If you go to any third world country, that they have coins that represent $10 to them, right? And so it's like, where is the value headed? So very, very interesting times we're living in, guys.
Agreed. And the money supply is not getting any smaller. There's a new $1,200 stimulus check that's coming in August. Stephen
Munchkin.
Munchkin.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, so he's going to be sending out some stimulus checks. If you're not investing in some hard assets with this check, you are going to be sadly mistaken, given a couple months.
If I buy like a couple, like pairs of shoes, like that's not a good idea, Ty? What?
No, I don't think so. That might not be the best decision. Some people are buying TVs with their stimulus checks.
Oh my god.
Why? Yeah. So you can get brainwashed more?
I know. Let's see that TV defend you when you try to eat.
Yeah, exactly. You're not gonna be able to sell TVs because everybody's gonna have one. It's gonna be like easy. Next thing is Gartman. Dennis Gartman. I guess he has a lot to do with gold, institutional wise. I guess he's a big gold bug. Don't know a whole lot about him, but he's essentially saying, I'm getting out of gold. And I think because of gold, and I just talked about this on my Twitter, it just hit $1,920 US. Actually, it just eclipsed that all-time high and still going. And people think it can go to $2,000, maybe $2,300. But with this being said, I think there's a lot of people who are going to start taking profits. A lot of institutions are going to start taking profits. Now, where do those profits go afterwards? They might say, okay, gold's had its run, right? Gold is at its top, or is getting close to its top. And, I want to take some profits, at least half or maybe, a percentage. Where do I put that, right? Where do I put my assets now? Because I don't want to put it in US dollar. US dollar is, you can see here the money supply. This is ridiculous. And I'll show you the difference between 2008 and let's see, 2000, 2008, 2011. That's like right here. The difference, the money supply did not increase even close to what it has done now. So it's ridiculous. So money supply is going up, US dollar value is going down. People are going to get out of gold, going to get out of that for profit. Where is that money going to go? I think it's going to go into Bitcoin. Bitcoin's just beginning its run. Yeah. Any institution is watching this. Even if they tell you they're not stupid. They're watching Bitcoin, and they're going to start putting money into it.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's like, do what I do, not what I say I'm going to do.
Exactly. Another thing, Goldman Sachs is warning about the dollar's grip on the global markets being over. So they're worried about the world reserve status of the U.S. dollar, fading away, which I'm sure, Eryka, you've been talking about for a long time.
Nonstop, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like everybody in crypto has,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
it's going to happen. I mean, based on the way things are going, it has to happen. We might see like in the future some kind of peg with, maybe algorithmic stability based on like the U.S. dollar, the yuan, the yen, the won, the different things like that. I think that's definitely a possibility, and they're going to start assimilating these currencies into a couple main currencies, and maybe who knows, maybe they'll incorporate a cryptocurrency in the future. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. I think that with our buddy Brian Brooks at the helm, we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Somebody said buy a bong with it. Buy what?
When you said the $1,200 check, whatever you're gonna buy, of course, whoever Garrett Pete is says we should buy bongs with our.
Yeah, you can forget about your decisions with that.
Yeah, exactly. So funny. But anyways, guys, the fundamentals of Bitcoin are absolutely there. They are heating up. Our hash rate is still very, very high. When you look at other hard assets, when you look at gold has hit its all-time high. It hit 1920 at the absolute peak, which beats the previous high of 1600, if I'm correct.
Well, the all-time high after 2011 was $1,920. So it just eclipsed the all-time high. The all-time high of gold just eclipsed. So
yeah. And when you look at Bitcoin as a digital gold, when you are involved in the world like I am, and you see all of these gold bugs asking, how do I buy Bitcoin? The market's moving. We have a very good week. We are above 11K, or if not 10,900. Now is not a bad time to tell your friends, put in $20. You can't be mad at me, but also tell them, we're going to tell you, this is not financial advice. Do your own research.
Tell your friends, throw your stimulus check at it, see what happens. I mean, it might be the best decision that you make. Seriously. Yeah. And it's funny because it almost seems like it's perfect timing, right? You have Bitcoin is about to go off. You have the stimulus check coming in. It's almost like Bitcoin. Somebody seems to want people to invest in Bitcoin. It seems it doesn't make any sense that all this is happening. And I don't know. It's weird. I'll just tell you that. If you don't invest in Bitcoin with your stimulus check, you might be missing out hard. Just saying.
Oh, all right. Well, Ty, thank you so much, you guys. Please, if you're watching this till the end, thank you so much for sticking with us. Hit that like button, subscribe if you have not already subscribed. Follow me on Twitter, follow Ty on Twitter, and we will see you next Tuesday. Definitely, if you specifically want certain coins covered, DM Ty, DM myself, and we'll see you next week.
Sounds good. Peace.
Bye.